So this is unit 4, page 17. We're continuing. Okay, so to graph this line here, we can first see that the y-intercept is -1, so we can write that b equals -1. And we can also see from this equation that m, the slope, equals 3. And it's helpful to write the slope as 3 over 1, and then write the words, I'd like you to write the words next to it, rise and run. And we can also write next to the y-intercept of -1, we can put that as an actual point that we're going to put on the graph, which has an x and a y component. It has an x and a y component, alphabetical order, so you don't need to mix those up. And the x component, because it's a y-intercept, because it's hitting this axis somewhere, the x component is 0. The horizontal is 0. So we can put in 0 for x and -1 for y. With this information here, it's very clear, it's straightforward to plot the line. We're going to first plot this point. All right, so I'm just going to assume the scale here is just 1, 2, 3, 4. Also, this scale up here should have negatives there and there. And let's see, I'll just put -4 here, I'll put +4 here, and -4 here, so you can, the scale's there. So for the point 0, 1, 0 for x, 0, -1, 0 for x, -1 for y. So we're going to plot that point here. And then from this point, we now use our slope to get the second point, to get a second point. And the rise is 3 and the run is 1. So we're going to start at the y-intercept point that we made. And the rise is 3. 1, 2, 3, +3, and then the run is 1. Okay, so we stop there and we put another point. Marco, what's up? Okay, where's your booklet?
I gave it to Niall, so Eric didn't take it.
Okay. So we're going to put the second point here. And we'll just connect the two. Because we're doing graphing this section, it might be a good, maybe everybody should have a ruler. So if you like, you could grab a ruler. Or maybe, and you could maybe share with just somebody next to you. All right. How's that look? Did everybody get the same as that? No, guys, just come up and get the ruler. Yeah. Only allowed to take one ruler at a time. No, I was kidding. Next one. Let's write the same. So using this system, okay, writing the explicit point and writing the words rise over run next to it makes it easy to plot the line. So I'm going to come around right now and I want to see everybody having the specific point with X, Y labeled in small letters above and the rise and run. Because these are, okay, Marco, sit down. Yeah. All right, I want to see everybody have this red circle here on their page. I'm going to come around and look at that. Okay, can you do it? Okay, so I'm going to come around and look for this. I want to see this written exactly like this for this question. Even if you graph the line successfully, I want to see this written because the lines are going to get more complicated, and this is the method. Okay, you need to have the orange stuff written for sure. I want to see that rise and the run, and the small little x and small little y above the. And I want to see the point. I don't just want to see b equals 1. Okay. Try and do this one. Let's try and do this one. I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes to try these two, okay? I'm going to set this one up for you, and I want to see this same form. Guys at the back, Henry, can you bring your phone up? Here, I'll get it. I want to see this same form for B and C, and I want you to try them on your own. All right. Guys, stop doing that. What are you doing? Are you gonna cut them? Okay, guys, can you try this at the front? Marco, turn around. No, yeah.
I'm getting an eraser.
Oh, okay. B equals 2. M equals -3/4. Rise and run. And for the y-intercept, the x value is 0. It's because it's along this axis, so we can put the 0 there first, and then we'll put our y in there. Okay. I want to see that for the second one. And for C also, I want to see the full setup for C on your pages, okay? I'm going to come around and look. All right, so plotting this point, 0 for x, so it's right on the axis, and 2. Put the point there. And we use our slope after we go to the right. Sorry, no, we go down 3, because it's -3. And we go to the right 4. 1, 2, 3, and to the right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Connect those two. Oh, can anybody tell me what I forgot to do for A? What's the last step that you got to do after you graph a line?
Label it.
Label it, yeah. So I need to put the label on this, which is the equation.
Do you only need to label it if there's only one, if there's more than one line?
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah. All right, C, what did you guys get for B?
2,
2, and what point would that make?
0, 2.
Okay, and the slope, what's the slope here?
-4 over 3.
All right, so let's plot this. The horizontal is 0, the vertical is +2. Also, it's got the same y-intercept there. Okay, so we'll have that overlap. And what should we do? So we've got a few different options to go from this point. Can I have everybody's eyes up here, even if you're successfully graphing this line? Okay, what are the 4 options that we could do in terms of paths to make the second point from our first point here? This is our first point. And what are the 4 options we could go? Or is there 4? Yeah, 2 for sure. Yeah.
Do you go down by 4?
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes.
And then we go to the right by 4.
1, 2, 3. Right, the rise and run. We make the point there. Okay, what's another option we could do?
Go to the right 3, then go down 4.
Yeah, we could do that. 1, 2, 3. So it doesn't matter whether you do what first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, but couldn't we also write this slope over here as positive 4 over negative 3? Are you sure? Yes, we could, right? Because that is equal to that. Pay attention, please. This is important. This is important. Marco, you guys, please pay attention. This is important. Okay, so we can also write it like that. So from this second one that's circled, what could we do with this?
Wait, is it?
Oh yeah, it'd be on the left side. Go up 4, then to the left.
Okay, let's do, up 4 and then to the left 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then to the left 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we could put another point up there. Okay, so that we've got a point down here and a point up there. What's the last option we could do for that red circle on the bottom right? The 4 over negative 3. What's the last way we could go using that circled 4 over negative 3? Go ahead.
Minus 3 and go up 4.
So what am I doing with the negative?
Go left 3.
1, 2, 3 for the negative 3, and then up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, do you see that here? Look. So there's 4 different ways for a slope that has a negative in it on how to do it.
Can you still like flip it if it's not negative?
The negative is what gives these 2 cases per direction. If you don't have a negative, you'll have 1 there and then 1 here.
So like if it's
Actually, no, sorry, that's not right. If you still have a negative, no, I think if you don't have a negative, it'll just be, well, the line will be going up in that direction, and you can either go that way or you can go that way with 2 positives. But when it's negative, you've got 4 cases. Sorry, go ahead. Was there anything else you want to say? I cut you off.
no, so like if the slope's 4 over 3, can you change it to 3 over 4?
No, you can't. You can't flip the numbers. You can just move the negative sign.
Oh,
Yeah. So you can move the negative sign. And before, when we were doing fractions, I said it's best to write a negative. You 2 at the front. Marco, can you move the over? Are those both seats free there, Andrew? And that's it, right? Okay. Marco, please go to the far side. Far side. No, far side. Yeah. Who? I don't. Is he? He's not here today. Yeah. And can you move over there? Okay. Sorry. Who was saying something there? Was it? So that was. Yes. What I was saying is that what I've told you before about a negative sign. Okay. Could everybody look up here? Even the people that are working ahead. I said you can write. You should write as the final answer a fraction like that. And then you can also write it like this. And you can also write it like this. These are all valid. They're all the same value. But this way of writing it, eyes up here, please, for people, everybody. This way of writing it doesn't work. I don't see everybody's eyes. So bring your phone and put it up here. This way of writing it doesn't work for the graphing method of slope. We have to choose a spot for that negative to go. And I'm just making the point here with these 4 different paths to plot that second point, right? We have our first point, then we plotted a second point, or another point over there. These 2 paths, it depends on whether you do your rise first or your run first, and it also depends on where you choose to put the negative, okay? But the negative out front of the fraction, you've got to choose. It doesn't matter which one you choose, but you've got to choose to put it either on the bottom like it is here or on the top when you're using this method of plotting the second point for a line. Any questions about that? Is that good? Yeah, it's clear. All right, so I'm going to use the bottom right point here. So -4 and +3. Okay, so we'll connect those two red dots now. Oops. And we'll label this line. Did you put your phone here?
Yeah, sorry?
Did you put your phone here?
Yeah.
You did. Thanks. Now we're going to learn a second method for graphing lines, which is graphing using the intercepts. So this is similar to the last method because we're already using one of the intercepts. We're using the y-intercept, right? We're putting that as our first point in these examples up here. We put our y-intercept as our first point and then get a second point using the slope. So here we're still going to be using the y-intercept, but we're also going to be using the x-intercept. So if we have a line that looks like, I don't know, this, there's the y-intercept that we've been working with, but we can also find the x-intercept. And if you have 2 points in the line, you have the line. So we can use those 2 points as the, don't do that to him. Anybody who's feeling like they don't want to sit down, please, you can go stand in the back of the room quietly and you can take notes from there. It's sometimes a relief to stand up, or you can go for a short walk. Okay, so what would you do right now if you were forgetting about all these instructions? How would you graph this line? Can somebody tell me?
B would be -10, and then the slope would be 5/1.
And you're thinking that because y equals mx plus b, and you're seeing a number by itself, and so you're thinking that it's -10.
Or you would like times them both by 2, so it'd be like P would be 20, and then X would be 10.
Yeah.
The slope would be 10/1.
Yes, I see. I do see what you're saying there. That's a logical way to think about it. However, this, and we've only done a couple examples on this, so it's hard to know. But to use this graphing method that we just used above to plot the y-intercept first, then use the slope for the second one, the line, so this line, must be in this format exactly. There must not be anything multiplied on the y. The y must be, Wasim, the y must be by itself on the left-hand side of the equal sign. So if you don't have that, which we don't have here, we've got the y multiplied by -2y, and it's not by itself. So therefore, that is not yet our y-intercept. But I can see how that's a logical way to think that it would be. So one option would be to solve this equation for y. Do the steps to solve it till you get y equals some stuff, and then you could recognize in here what the b is and what the slope times the x is. And but we're going to do it a slightly different way this time. Does that make sense? What's going? No. What are you doing? No, that's okay. But all right. So if we wanted to figure, so if we look at this and we see there's no square on the y or square on the x or cube or anything, the exponents are just 1. We can see that you should be able to see that this is a line, okay? Because it meets the criteria for a line. So we say, okay, we know that's a line. So it looks like something. I don't know what it looks like. Maybe it looks like that. Without solving this for y and getting it y equals mx plus b, how could we find the y-intercept of this line? What happens? So we want to figure out the value of y when this line, whatever it is, intersects the y-axis. We want to figure out the value of y, when it intersects the y-axis. What's the value of x when that line intersects the y-axis? 0. So can we just plug in 0 for x and figure out what y is?
Probably.
Okay, let's try that. So we're going to first find the y-intercept.
Well, for the one.
Just ignoring b for now. Set x equal to 0. 5 times 0 minus 2y equals negative 10. Okay, I just plugged in 0 for x to figure out, and then we can have an equation with only y in it. Okay, so let's solve this for y now. This becomes 0, and so we have negative 2y equals negative 10. And what would y be equal here? What's y equal to? 5. Yeah, y is equal to 5. Now I have a question for you guys. Because we just started learning to solve equations like a few weeks ago, did you get that 5 here by thinking about it and doing guess method? Anybody use it that way? Because that's how we started, right? When we started solving equations, we were like, okay, let's just guess. Okay, so negative 2 times 5, that'll equal negative 10. So therefore, y is equal to 5. How many people use a method different than that? Yeah, what did you guys, what everybody else, other people use? Yeah.
Just divide negative 10.
Divide both sides by negative 2 so that they cancel. The y is left by the... So now you can see how your thinking has changed to an easier mental framework to get that answer. And then the guess method is basically like doing your check, left-hand side equals right-hand side, plugging in the answer you get using your new mental framework back into the original equation and making sure that the left side equals the right side. Yeah?
But doesn't y equal the y value, not the y-intercept?
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. Just like we had b before equaling the y value and not the... so that's something I was saying before, is that the term y-intercept is used... you have to have two things in your mind for it. You could think of it as the value on the y-axis or the coordinate point. Okay, so sometimes it's shortened to just the value because by saying y-intercept, everybody knows, well, you can know that the x value is 0. Does that make sense? Yeah, yeah. I was hard for people to concentrate when, but you can go for you want to stand up for a bit. No, if you feel the need to do that, it's good to get up. And no, seriously, it's good. Just stand up for 5 minutes at the back. So, Kaylin, y equals 5, and we can write right next to it the point. Now let's find the x-intercept for this. How do you think we might find the x-intercept for this? Yeah, and so that's great. You guys are standing up. So when you're standing, don't stand behind people. Okay, so just go to a spot in the room where you're not behind people because they might not like you. You know, that feeling of, yeah.
You set y to 0 and then solve for x.
Okay, so Conrad is saying he's using the same method that we use for the y-intercept to find the x-intercept. So when we have the line intersecting the x-axis for the x-intercept, whatever the line looks like, I don't know. When it intersects the x-axis, y is 0. The height here is 0. So we can plug in 0 for y to find the x-intercept. And Yeah, so that's a good point again, Kalen, that you're saying, well, isn't that the y-intercept? I would like you to always tie it in your mind. These are both the y-intercept. They use the terms interchangeably. I'd like you to tie it in your mind to a point, okay? So now we're going to find the x-intercept. And then for this, we're going to set y equal to 0. And so that's, I'm just going to put 0 in there and then rewrite this equation down here. And then we'll solve this equation for x. Five x minus 2 times 0 equals negative 10. So 5x equals negative 10, and x equals, okay, what does x equal there? We're going to use the guess method? So that was dividing both sides by 5 to get x equals to negative 2. And let's write, I would like you to always write next to your intercept values, the point. Okay, it's very important to write that point there to get it clear in your mind what we're finding. We're finding a point. So when it's the x-intercept, the y value is 0. Okay, I would like you to put some numbers on here that make sense for your scale, and then plot these 2 points and connect them. I'd like to see you do that, so I'm going to come around and check. And I want to make sure that this is written down. This is written down on everybody's page, okay? So graph these 2 points and then label your line also after.
No, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. So I get yes, they go down 5. Yeah. And then go left.
Bro, if you weren't paying attention.
It's pretty easy.
It's easy once you understand it, but if you don't understand it, of course.
Swallow the water.
You know how that works.
Swallow the water. Is that any rest?
Yeah, okay, great, let me show you.
You can use it if you want.
Okay, so
Okay, guys, I've created a standing desk in the back of the room so somebody can work up there. Nice. Look at that. How good does that feel? Seriously, yeah, we got to make more of those. Maybe we'll do the whole back row standing desk and take turns. And guys, do your homework like this. That's great. Look at how comfortable it is. It's like.
you do get the answers to start with. They give you it. They give you through it. You could do it like that, but we're just going from the line to set, which they give us. And we're just using the slope. Because this is just 3 over 1. This help is just 3 over 1. So we're going to start with the actual line.
plotting this point first, so 0 for x and 5 for y. Okay, maybe you probably did a better scale than I did. What's that? Yeah, you just gotta leave your phone in your desk or you're up here. And -2 for x and 0. So look at these 2 points. They are on the axes. Okay, I just extended my axes some. And if we connect these 2 points, we have our line. And we can label it 5x minus 2y equals -10. Okay, let's do the next one. B. Oh, there's a double B there. We're going to use the same method to find this. That didn't work. Setting x equal to 0 in this equation here. Yeah.
We just divide 4x by 12 and -3y by 12. Like, isn't that like a lot easier?
Divide it by 12, and then you would divide. So every term divide by 12. So there, that term you'd have, it would be equal to 1.
Well, like to plot the 2 lines, it would just be like x is 3 and y is -4.
And so how did you arrive at that, Henry?
You just like divide 12 by both. Like there's no need to put like 4 and then make a 0.
Okay, so you got from this down to the y-intercept of -4 by doing what exactly? Divide by 12, you said?
Yeah, like
What did? How did that give us a -4?
pardon me.
How did that dividing by 12 give us a -4?
12 divided by -3y.
Well, yes. Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. So what Henry is saying is, since we're doing intercepts, if we're finding the y-intercept with x equals 0, that term just goes away. So you just divide both sides by -3, right? That's what you meant, I think. And then if you want to find the other one, this term goes to 0, so you just divide both sides by 4. Okay. And we'll put the actual coordinate point here. So the x is 0 and the y is -4. And then for the x-intercept, we set y equal to 0. Okay, so we've got our 2 points there. And I'd like you to plot them and then label that line.
Plus two is what, right?
Does anybody want to take a turn with Wasim? Maybe you could fit 2 up there even. Oh, Wasim, the books are going to fall off the front. Can you push them back in?
Now say let's stop. Stop.
No. Okay, guys, come up. Somebody come back to the same desk.
It's 2 yeah, it's just 2, I mean 3, like 4 minutes. Yeah. Oh no, yeah, it's rise up and rise. 2 rise.
Oh, Miles is going? Okay.
1, 2, 3.
0 and 4. Put that point up here. 3 and 0. So we got our 2 intercepts there. And we'll label that line. Here, so don't, here, give him a tissue. Here, Margot. Whoever squirted that on him, get it.
What is that?
Well, I thought it was negative.
Here, do you want to just go to the bathroom there, and then you can get it. No, if you don't go to the bathroom now, it's gonna stay stained all day. So get some water there and just use it.
Ben, what is that? It's -4.
Yeah, the wine says
Where do you
negative.
even get those?
Oh, okay. Hold on here. -4, right?
Can I get this top?
-4 and 0. There we go. How's that? Is that like what you guys got? Conrad, is that?
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's what I got too.
All right. Okay, I'm going to move on, guys. With the standing desk, with the privilege of the Marco, with the standing desk comes great responsibility.
I can clean them.
Yeah, but I don't think it's appropriate to come up in front of the class and ask for scissors for a yogurt squeeze tube while I'm teaching. You may have to just not eat it. Whom should you see at the bank if you need to borrow money? All right, so this is the question. And we have to do these graphs to be able to figure out what the word is. Or the words.
Wait, let me try to do this on my own. Wait, where do you get those? They have them? Miss Rodriguez, can I get a snack?
Well, are you going to get 30 for everybody?
Yeah, I'll get as many as possible. I'll get like as many as possible. I'll get like 10.
Do you know how to grab? I don't want you to miss this though. Okay, so
Just like run down quickly and get like 40.
all right. So for these exercises here, you are going to be using the slope and y-intercept method to graph. Okay, so you're going to be doing the slope and y-intercept method. So we're flipping back to, because it's pretty fast, right? So the y-intercept here has a value of x is 0 and y is 1. The slope equals 2 over 3, and I want to see everybody writing rise and run. Okay, and then we can plot that point and then use that to get the second point. Okay, so the three guys that are using the standing desk are not doing the work, so you all have to sit down and we'll get another 3 back there. So you had your chance. You can go again another day. You just have to be writing the notes down. So all 3 of you come up and go back to your seats, please. And then, no, it's got to be, if you're standing back there over people, you got to be quiet and respectful. Okay, X and Y. Put this point first. And the slope, rise and run. So 1, 2, and then run of 1, 2, 3. We'll put our second point there. Okay, we don't need to, just like Eric was saying before, we don't need to label this line because we're only graphing 1. Can I get 2 other people to try the standing desk? It's really way better than you think. Yeah, there's one other person to try it. Jackson? Okay. Okay, so you have the rest of this section for homework. And don't tell anybody what this word is because it's okay. It's a motivation to finish. All right, we're going to start the next section on page 19 now, so you can open up to page 19. Okay, so we're going to do more work with lines, slopes, and a point. You gotta just leave your, oh, you already did, yeah. So recall that the equation of a line in slope-intercept form is this, also called y equals mx plus b form. At the back, you gotta be focused. Matthew, you gotta be focused if you're gonna be there, okay? Where m in this equation is the, what do you guys think? Slope, yep, and b is the?
Mr. Willoughby,
Yeah.
if it doesn't have like a y-intercept, do we just start at 0, 0?
If it doesn't have a y-intercept, then you would use the other graphing method, which is the finding the x-intercept and finding the y-intercept. And what you mean that the y-intercept is 0?
What happens if it says
Oh.
y equals 5 over 3x and it doesn't give us like a b?
Is that something coming up down below?
Yeah.
Let me get to that. But yeah, but what you said the first is correct. 0, 0. In this lesson, a slope will be given or can be deduced using information in the question. A point or an intercept will also be given. Well, an intercept is a point, right? So.
Oh, there are like multiple.
Find the equation of the line that has a slope of this and a y-intercept of 5. Okay. So the first thing you do here is you just write down the form of a line. And we're told that the y-intercept is 5 and the slope is 4 over 3. So what can we rate for this one? Ben, you want something?
Or y and
3 over 1.
well, is 6.
Oh, so y equals -4 over 3 plus 5.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were doing example number 2.
It's okay. If the slope and if given the slope and a point, you just substitute it into the y equals mx plus b form. You just substitute, okay? That's what we did here. We were told that the slope is this, and the y-intercept is 5. So you need to write this down in symbols first, and then just replace b with 5, and replace m with -4 over 3. Find the equation, let's do the next example. Find the equation of a line that has a slope of 3 and passes through this point. Okay, so give that one a try.
Oh, but you could do like a
Okay, so let's work with what we have. We know what to do with the slope. Let's start with that.
Y equals 2 over 1 or just y?
so now
Yep. M equals 3. Yep. So we're going to write down y equals mx plus b. We know that the m is 3, so we can replace m.
Y equals 3.
Okay. We put in 3 for m, and the only thing left to find is b. Helpful if you can try to follow along, even if it's for a few minutes at a time. This is a good time to. Okay, so we told that the slope is this, And that allowed us to write the general equation like this. Now, what can we do with this to get b? What do you think we could do? There's more information that we could use there. Miles, do you want to try and see what you got to do for that one? The next step, what do you think? X is 2, y is 4, right? So could we put those numbers in down there? Yeah. Okay, so let's put in -2 for x, sorry, and put in 4 for y. Once we replace the x and y with those two,
4 equals 3 times 2 plus b.
yeah, once we replace the x and y with those two, we will be able to solve the equation for this unknown b. Now we can solve it for b, so just take some steps to do it. And what would we do to both sides to get b by itself here?
You,
Does that make sense? Ben, does that make sense?
yeah.
Add 6, so that'll become 10, and then the right-hand side will be b by itself. All right, we've found our b, and we already had our m, so now we can write our final. Yeah. And then we're done. Okay, the next one has a slope of 2/3 and passes through this point. Well, let's use the same method. Why not? So try to do this method. Okay, so try to do this method on your own here. Give it a try, because if you get it here, then it saves you time later. Okay, so I want everybody to try this, okay? Try to follow this method for this one. So before we had step 1, writing down the slope. Step 2, writing down the equation y equals mx plus b. Step 3 was to substitute in m equals 3 into here. And then we were solving. And then step 4 is just to put everything together. Try to follow those 4 steps for this one. Okay. Try and do this one. Try, guys. Yeah, try it, because it makes it way easier to learn it if you try. And you get stuck at a point. Like it's like 5 times as fast learning. Okay, let's follow those steps for this one. M is 2/3. Y equals mx plus b. We just write that down in our step 2. We can replace m with 2/3. Or sorry, -2/3. All right. Now, we take our x, y here, and you should definitely put on top of here x, y, to keep all this information straight in your head. And we're going to plug those in. And we'll be left with an equation that has only the variable b, which we can solve for b. X is -1 plus b. Okay, we can solve this for b. We'll simplify it a little bit first. The negatives cancel, and we just have 2/3 plus b. So we could say that b equals 3 minus 2/3. I flipped the sides of the equal sign there. And I moved the 2/3 to the other side, or I subtracted 2/3 from both sides. How do we simplify a whole number? How do we simplify, Ben? How do we simplify a whole number and a fraction like this? What could we do to simplify that?
Make them both a fraction with a common denominator.
Oh,
Yeah, and so what are we going to do to that 3 there?
3/1 negative more minus 2/3. Oh, not.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right, Ben. That's actually a better way to do it. So if we write that as 3/1 first, that's actually the right way to do it. And then we can see that we have to multiply the bottom by 3 to get the same as that. So we do that, and that means we have to multiply the top also by 3. Yeah. And so b equals 7/3. All right, we've got our b, and we have our m. So let's just write the equation down now. We just write the answer down. Y equals mx plus b. So y equals -2/3x plus 7/3. Yeah, we want to put it at the front. Anywhere you like, just go quietly. Okay, so that's it for this. We're on page 20, starting on 20 tomorrow. Here's page 20. Let's do, sorry, on Tuesday. Okay, guys, we have 5 minutes, and you've got a long 4-day weekend. So, unfortunately, we need to focus for the last 5 minutes. In this section here, we're going to find the equation of a line given 2 points. And we're going to follow some steps here to do it. Step 1. Okay, this looks like a lot of work, but it's not. We just got big gaps. Guys, stop. Guys, Matthew, stop. We only have 4 minutes here. Calculate the slope. Okay, that's the first step. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And we'll label these here x1, y1, x2, y2. Excuse me, we're still in class. Okay, that's going to, after some simplification, the slope's going to be 4. Now, we've got our slope, and just like the last examples we were doing, we can put that slope into the y equals mx plus b form. And we can also take one of these points, it doesn't matter which one we take, and put the values for x and y into this equation, which will allow us to solve for b. So that should be y. Let's put the first point in, 1, 3. So we'll put 3 in. Okay, so what happened there is the 1 went in there, and the 3 went in there. Now we've got an equation that we can solve for b, and we find that b is equal to 3 minus 4, which is -1. Okay, we've got our m and we have our b, so we can write the equation. Y equals mx plus b, and so y equals 4x minus 1. Okay, last one. We're going to do the last one here, so that you have some stuff to do over the 4-day break.
We don't have that.
You don't have this example? What do you have? Just the homework? Oh, is the booklet just stop there?
Oh, no, we do have it, it's just on the other.
Yeah, okay, so just go to the other page there. Okay, so step 1 is to find the slope. Okay, so we solve this, that becomes addition on the top, and we have just 1 on the bottom. So m is 6. Next step, y equals mx plus b. We replace m with 6. And then we are going to replace the y and the x with one of the points. We can choose any of them. So let's do that. Plus b. And now we have, and so here I took the x, put it in there, and the y, put it in there. And now we can solve this equation for b. And so we get b equals -13. So that's 6 times 2 is 12, and bring it over, it becomes -13. And so we're done this question also, because we have y equals mx plus b, and we're replacing the m and the b in this equation. Okay, so that solves that last equation. I'll go back to that in 1 sec. You've got the homework here and the answers for over the break. When we come back from the break, I'm going to do a homework check for your whole booklet up until page 22, this homework here.
I don't have page 22.
Okay, so why don't you come up and we'll figure out what happened with your booklet.